have woken up from our beds and provided us with the food that we ate this morning and provided us with the clothes that we wear. Without them, we will not be where we are today. Without them, we will not be able to wake up to have this meeting today. He's our Lord and Savior. He's everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you'll lead us in the American flag.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, y'all have a seat. Thank you very much for helping us out and joining us, and I hope that you will come and join us for future meetings as well. Sometimes it's real boring, and sometimes it's exciting. I hope this is one of the boring ones. Okay, so we'll move on to, do we have any proclamations?
No, sir, we don't.
Okay. So, number 5 is public testimony. Citizens are invited to speak on any topic or agenda item before and during the meeting by response to the mayor to be recognized. However, unless the item is specifically listed on this agenda, the City Council is required under the Texas Open Meetings Act to limit its response with a statement of specific factual information reciting the city's existing policy on that issue, or directing the person making the inquiry to visit with city staff about the issue, and no council deliberation is permitted for topics not specifically listed on the agenda. Is there anybody here tonight that wants to speak about anything that's not on the agenda? All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. All items under this section are recommended for approval for the consent agenda. These items are of a routine nature and require only brief deliberation by council. Council reserves the right to remove any item on the consent agenda for further deliberation. A, approve minutes of September 26, 2023 regular council meeting. B, approve bills payable for period ending September 30th, 2023, which is fiscal year 2023. And C, approve economic development agreement for business improvement grant with That I Place located at 4829 Green Oaks Drive, as recommended by the Economic Development Corporation. Anybody like to make a motion?
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda items A, B, and C.
A second.
We have a first and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Number 7, discussion or action taken on items withdrawn. Sorry about that. Personal appearances and or items requiring council approval or action. Consider approval under the Fair Housing Act to make a reasonable accommodation for a person with a disability with regard to land use regulations as requested by Zenadia, am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Tovar Banda at 1401 Westwick Drive in order to be permitted to build a 14-foot by 20-foot carport and front attached to the existing front porch awning, and that the proposed carport would extend in front of the 25-foot building line to within 6 foot 9 inches of the prevailing edge of the street in violation of section 22.A.5D of the River Oaks zoning ordinance. First of all, let me say that I drove by your house, and I think your house is beautiful. You all have done a nice job of fixing it up, and as a neighbor, I want to say thank you. You want to fill us in on what?
Yes, sir. What they're requesting is to meet the handicap accessibility. They have a front porch awning, and they need a carport that would in front where the child can come out and go and be able to be loaded into the car where it won't be out into the weather. And all the handicap accessibility for him is right there on the front. There is no other area at the house that they have it. So we had treated it as a variance request before the zoning board of adjustments. It was actually a 14 by 20 carport that they proposed, which would come out to about 6 foot 9 inches from the edge of the street. ZBA could not rule on it because it was out of their scope of allowable hardships. There was no other hardship involved here. So as far as disability goes, they cannot rule on that. However, it can be considered by the city council as a reasonable accommodation under the Fair Housing Act, and in so doing, I think staff and ZBA together had thought if they could deal with a 15-foot carport, would put it at the property line. That way it would not extend over the property line. Even though our ordinance allows you to go all the way to the edge of the street, they would be 10 foot away and have a 15-foot long carport instead of a 20. And also that our recommendation is that it would have to be removed when the disability no longer exists. In other words, if they sold the property or moved. That was the conditions that, and the council can set those conditions, and the attorney's here to follow up on anything that I've said, but basically the hardship of disability cannot be considered by ZBA.
That's what, when I was on ZBA, that's what they had always told us, but now you got the Fair Housing Act. Is that something new?
No, it's not new.
That never got
It's
brought
different
up.
than-
We ran across the same thing before.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of questions. My understanding is that this would take it into the right-of-way, number one.
If they did the 15, it won't.
Okay. And then the 15 is talking about poles, correct?
Where the poles are, yeah.
So it would be very reasonable to me to put in and I've built several carports, if they put in their poles at 15 foot and then put in a 2-foot overhang, they'd have
They could do
17 foot. They're getting very close to what they wanted.
Yeah.
And then the other question I think both parties need to know from the attorney, and I know you don't know every answer to everything, but you're really close.
Appreciate that.
If we allowed somebody to build in that right of way, and somebody came and had to get into that right of way to replace water line, sewer line, or things like we're doing all over this city right now, and that carport had to be torn down to do that work, are we now liable for that since we allowed it, or is that their responsibility? And either way, they need to know this